Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, did it do what it promised to do? First, there wasn't a lot of promotion done on this film, unfortunately. And I was looking for a shirt a couple days beforehand, and people didn't even realize that there's another Ghostbusters film coming out. As something's going to hurt the film, obviously only time will tell. So its opening weekend was still underway. And according to the trailer, it definitely made some promises of what we should expect from it. It looked like it promised to be a fun movie.
I have a ghost to bust.
It promised to be full of action. It promised that we would have a lot of fun and that there would be tons of nostalgia thrown in. So certainly to that degree, it was a huge success because the Ghostbusters Frozen Empire was all of those things. Did a great job at blending the original GBs along with the current Ghostbuster family with the Spanglers. We also get to be introduced to a whole new group of characters and ghosts. There's actually some pretty fantastic ghosts that they've introduced in this one, such as the Pukey Ghost and the Hell's Kitchen Sewer Dragon, amongst other ones. And Slimer makes an awesome appearance in this. As a matter of fact, I think that was probably one of my highlights of this one. It was almost like they tore into my brain and they ripped out that memory bank that I had of watching the real Ghostbusters cartoon way back when from the early 80s. So that was a huge highlight to see Slimer and all of his big movie details like this. And unfortunately, one of the introductions that they did happens to be the baddest ghost of them all, which is there to threaten to turn the world into ends up being a second ice age. Unfortunately, this badass monster, barely makes it out of its box, does his thing, only just to be stuffed back in. What I thought was premature. I would have loved to have seen a lot more of the big boss ghost. It's pretty clear from the outset. I think that director Gil Kinnan did a fantastic job with the film and really did the best that he could to make it seem big. And he definitely achieved that, but at what cost? Certainly in many areas of the film really did come across overstuffed. I just found that there is just so many characters that some of the characters from Afterlife, the movie, of course, that came before this one, like Finn Wolfhard, who plays Trevor Spangler, he had a real prominent part that I thought worked super well for him. He really filled that part nicely in Afterlife, but here it almost seemed like he was sort of a secondary character that was all but cast out of the ghost busting circle. As a matter of fact, there is a scene, certainly towards the end of it, that should have been a pivotal moment for that character for us all to cheer, and it ended up just being kind of meh. Oh, there's that character again. Phoebe she certainly is the character that really gets the spotlight in this, and she certainly nails her part, and it was fantastic to learn a lot more about her. Once again, it's an example of several of the characters in here that certainly filled the parts extremely well, while other ones I felt just weren't really there. They might have as well been extras or simply blended into maybe another character, but all the same, they were there. Even Bill Murray, clearly he's just there. It's like they gave him I saw another critic suggest that they just gave him a blank check and said, hey, we just want you here for about 15 minutes. What's it going to cost us? Because he was just the same, jerk scientist he always is, just trying to piss off whoever happens to be in front of him, who may or may not have psychic abilities. So one of the characters in here that, certainly gets plenty of airtime is those little mini Stay Puft marshmallows. As cute as hell as they are, it's pretty obvious that these guys are, certainly going to get their a spin-off show down the road. So you can expect that just seems to be what happened. They're going to go the road of Groot. I'm positive on this one. And is that going to be a bad thing? I don't know. Maybe I think it certainly is time for Ghostbusters to certainly go in another direction, and that might be something that they think is at least going to tide kids over until they get nostalgic enough about this film and come up with a different version, down the road. And even though there were certainly a lot of characters that either seemed to get pushed to the wayside or really didn't seem to have much of a purpose in being there at all, I did like the fact that there certainly were some cool throwback characters that they threw into this, such as, Mayor Dickless. Peckman makes an appearance in here as well, once again trying to thwart the Ghostbusters for all the mayhem and destruction they cause in the city, even though they ultimately save the world, including their city. But he just doesn't care because I guess it just wouldn't be as interesting. Janine also, of course, makes an appearance in this one, which is super cool, even though I'm not sure that I like the fact that they seem to portray her more predominantly as one of the Ghostbusters of this. I mean, yeah, obviously she's always been part of the family, but her part of the family was behind the phone, being that cantankerous, grumpy woman with a big heart that you begrudgingly send the Ghostbusters off to the next big case to get paid. But unfortunately, she was only on the phone for a little bit of time, so I didn't know if I liked that too much. Although the fact that she was there in itself was pretty cool. What do I know? Even Bill Murray, I mean, he seemed to be having a fantastic time, on the set as well. And I think it was pretty clear that he really enjoyed being there. And who could blame him? Because you essentially have all the surviving gang back together again. And there was a lot of heart in this film too. I found that by having the old GBs mingled in with all the new guys as well, it really did seem like sort of a subtle, not so subtle way of essentially passing that torch, both literary and figuratively, to the new generation of Ghostbusters. And it's kind of oddly enough too, one of the plot lines that I really enjoyed, that even though it seemed rather useless in a sense as far as a greater picture of the plot, was relationship that Phoebe had with Melody, a ghost friend that she made. It's hard to call it an unlikely friendship because it is Ghostbusters after all, and they're all about the ghosts. But the relationship that she had with Melody was super interesting and really had a lot of heart, and certainly exemplified, I think, a lot of the subtle connective tissues going through the whole movie, which essentially ties in, of course, with again passing that torch and waxing poetic about getting old, finding meaning, and moving on. And as far as doing what Ghostbusters always did when it was running at its best, such as its 1984 original version, of blending in that truly dark horror along with the funny stuff, I thought they did an awesome job with this. There was a lot of times where I found myself absolutely laughing out loud. Certainly with Kamala Nanjiani's character, I thought he was brilliant in this. I know I've seen some critiques as well, one of folks that kind of wondered what he was doing there and that it took them out of the movie a little bit. But personally, I didn't really get that at all. I thought he added quite a bit to this, and I would love to see a spin-off of his particular character. Although, that said, his particular character in the film, his backstory didn't really make much sense. It was very silly, but I mean, really, who cares? It was really just a bridge to kind of get the train moving along, so to speak, as far as what his point of being in the film was all about, which turns out was a big part of helping to save the world against this, badass beast that came across as sort of a, the angry bastard child of Slender Man and Satan. The new monster was absolutely terrifying. As a matter of fact, I think that even Zool from the original would have had no hesitations about bowing down to this thing and showing its respect. The sad part about it is that the filmmakers didn't seem to show this badass creature enough respect, because it seemed that, just when we discovered exactly how truly terrifying this thing was, he was, as I mentioned earlier, basically shoved back into the box before, we could really get to know him or get to be terrified by him all that long. A bit of a lost opportunity in this case. As far as it being funny, yeah, I thought it was hilarious. Definitely a lot of laugh out loud moments in there. And I wasn't alone. The whole crowd got going in the theater too, which was awesome. Yeah, overall, I mean, I thought this was just a great night out. It was a great way to spend a couple of hours pulling or losing ourselves and getting lost outside of our own realities, which I think any great film, that's exactly what it should do. And it might not be one of the ones that'll certainly resonate with you. However, kind of makes you also wonder, where do they go from here? There's going to be another one. I think this movie's going to do just fine on its own, enough that they're going to be able to finance whatever project they want to do out of this one, whether it's a spin-off of the Stay Puft Marshmallow little minion baby squishy things, or something in a different direction. Personally, I would love it if they just lean into the terror. Maybe we got to see that badass at the very end of it. Maybe you get to see him play more of a prominent role. But I think that there's only so many ways you can milk this cow. I mean, certainly if they try to make an additional story, they could do that. But really just be more of the same. I think they would have to really lean into the scary stuff and make it more adult oriented as well. I mean, after all, such is the theme of this film, none of us are getting any younger, and there's now a couple of generations that are brought into the fold of Ghostbusters. So I think that they need to maybe honor that and give us something scary, give us something a little bit more adult oriented. What do you guys think that have seen the movie or that are thinking about seeing the movie? Hopefully, you guys enjoyed it as well. Do you think that I'm completely out to left field? Maybe some of my reactions were also some of your reactions. I would love to know your opinion down below. So overall, I think as long as you guys ignore the thin veil of shortcomings and enjoy the film for what it is, which is a big fun movie stuffed full of nostalgia, big action, plenty of laughs and ghosties to take us away from our own reality for a couple hours, you're gonna love the film. And until next time, see you at the movies. And what do we tell them, Ray?
Busting makes me feel good.
Ho, 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 ho.